Good morning, everybody. Happy 2025 and welcome to the next edition of the evexus Product Showcase. My name is Ollie Matthews, and thank you very much indeed for taking the time to spend half an hour or so with us as we look to explore the interesting topic of continuing professional development and educational events. It's obviously a crucial area for an incredible number of associations, whether you are officially focused on that, providing that CPD side of things for your association members and community, or whether you just play that important role of being a trusted source of educational content. Being able to provide engaging events that are informative as well as inspiring is part of your raison d'etre. And with evexus, we think we've got some great ways in which we can help you out. A little bit of housekeeping first of all. So you can ask questions at any point at all. So please just use the chat function. You should see the button at the bottom of your screen. So just get in there at any point, ask any questions that you like, and then we'll make sure we cover those off at the end of the session. And obviously, if you'd like any information about evexus at all, please either drop me an email or just put a little note in the chat as well, and we can follow up afterwards. So let's dig in and start exploring the world of CPD and education with evexus. Hello and welcome to Streamlining Continuing Professional Development and Education with evexus. In a lot of our conversations and research with our clients and larger community, we found some interesting stats around the topic of CPD and education. First of all, a huge number, 80% of organizations, still rely upon spreadsheets or manual processes to track CPD and education. That's obviously an incredible amount of hard work and also adds in a lot of risk in terms of potential lost data, double handling, and it's just not quite the way in which we should be working in 2025. When you then add to that the fact that a lot of associations certainly don't struggle to create data, but the problem is that actually there's a lack of integration of systems, and that's leading to that data sitting here, there, and everywhere, stuck in silos. And that's incredibly inefficient and, again, potentially quite a big risk. While that's all happening internally, externally, we're finding that there is a growing level of competition when it comes to options for members to gain CPD and engaging education. There is a large number and a growing number of providers out there in the marketplace, and they are definitely challenging that superiority and that sort of monopoly that a lot of associations have historically had when it comes to being a source of CPD and education. So it's a challenging area, it's a very important area, but it's also an area full of opportunity. And when we start thinking about trying to take the pain out of CPD, both from an organizer point of view and then also from a member point of view, it's worth harking back to the very famous quote that came from, I think it was Benjamin Franklin: "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, use evexus and I learn." I say Benjamin Franklin. I think the history books are not completely clear about the accuracy of that quote. But the point still stands that we need to make sure that we are providing truly engaging and interactive experiences to attract and help our audience. And there's a few key elements we need to consider and that we've sort of built into the evexus system. First of all, that accurate profiling. Like, are you actually tracking the right person in the right way? And it sounds potentially a little bit sinister, but what we mean here is that it's really easy to get systems a little bit mixed up, not integrated smoothly, which means that people are turning up and attending the webinar, answering the survey, taking the assessment, attending the conference. But are we really sure that we've actually got all of their CPD, all of their activity clearly attached to their profile in our systems? Because if not, there's potentially big issues there and a lot of sort of extra admin that we'll have to do. Secondly, are we accurately tracking the data itself? Are you recording all the things that you really need to? And are you making it nice and easy in terms of turning that data tracking into the actual CPD attribution and certification? Thirdly, have you got a system that provides flexibility of frameworks? So are you able to provide different approaches and systems and structures in order to, for your side, collect the right data, and from your member point of view, to engage in different sort of pieces of content, but still earn the appropriate CPD points and credits? And then finally, Are we thinking about not just assessments, but actually engagement as well? There's a lot of situations where what we're doing is what we're seeing in the market is the provision of interesting content for sure, but they're not really necessarily checking whether the audience is engaging with it and not really checking whether actually they are learning from it via some sort of assessment. So we believe these are some of the key elements that are crucial in terms of not just delivering an excellent CPD experience, but also making it as easy as possible for yourselves to manage a very busy and complex CPD situation. And what we want to do now is have a little bit of a look at the evexus system and how it handles some of these different elements. So here we are behind the scenes in the accreditation module in the back end of the evexus system. So this is where anyone who's using the system from an organizer point of view can come in and quickly and easily build out an accreditation framework. As you can see, it's very easy to follow. So let's start by creating one for New Zealand. This will then mean that anyone who is classified as when during their registration as being part of the New Zealand framework, they will then be earning points in this kind of way and having to adhere to these criteria. We'll give it a start date and time as well, and this then means that event attendees can earn points under this framework during this period of time. That might be because the event itself is stretching over, say, 2 or 3 days, or it might be because the actual piece of content, maybe it's an on-demand recording for a webinar, is being made available for a month, for example, and people can earn credits during that month. We can decide upon exactly what we want the labels to be. Might have that as units or points to make sure that it really fits our kind of brand and tone of voice. We can also sort of decide exactly the number of units that the delegate is going to earn per hour of content watched. In this instance, let's call that 3. We can set a threshold, so we can decide what percentage of a particular session that audience member needs to have watched in order to earn the points. So let's say that's 75 this time. We can also provide an assessment, so you can set it so that an attendee has to take a particular assessment in order to earn the points. It's not just about watching the session, it's also about taking the assessment. And we can also then have the system decide whether the attendee needs to pass that assessment as well in order to earn the points. We then decide which delegates this is actually going to apply to, and we can make sure it's enabled. We've got a couple of options when it comes to certificate. We can create quite a simple one here just within the system. We can then also ensure we've got the option to provide a real breakdown of the units or just a summary. Or if we'd like, we can design something out externally and then upload it here within the system. Once that's all filled in, I can hit submit. And I've got a couple here that already exist. So we can see we've got an Australian one and an international one. So as an example, if this was an event where we had both a domestic and overseas audience, and this might well mean that actually we've got attendees coming from an overseas regulatory body where they collect points and earn points in a different way. And as you can see here, for an Australian sort of attendee, they actually only earn 1 point per hour, whereas an international one will earn 5 points per hour. But for the Australian member, there's no threshold. But for the international member, they need to have watched at least 75% of the content and done the assessment and passed it. So you see how quick and easy it is to create a CPD framework within the evexus system. And you can see as well that it's very powerful in terms of being able to have different styles of framework for your different audience members. Obviously, associations deliver lots of different types of events that vary both in terms of scale, but also in terms of delivery mechanism. It may well be a small workshop in person, it could be a large scale hybrid congress, or it could be a short and sweet virtual webinar. But all of these different pieces of educational event and educational experience need to be delivered in a consistent way in order to allow you to have that consistent accuracy. So when we're thinking about the different ways in which people can engage with your content and your educational content, we need to think about how can we use technology to be able to support that CPD program and experience. From a virtual point of view, evexus has a number of ways of helping there. We can look at things such as what users are actually viewing, what sessions, how long are they viewing it for, and then also what type of session are they watching. Is it purely live, or is it purely on demand, or is it a combination of the both? Obviously, not only is that important because you can then attribute the right CPD points and credits towards those different activities, but it can also give you a really valuable insight into how your audience chooses and prefers to engage with your content. If it's an in-person audience, though, there's lots of other ways in which we can make sure that we're getting consistent, accurate data. First of all, we can use an event app, and the evexus event app has been purpose-built to support CPD collection, and that includes being able to provide features such as session check-in and check-out, measuring and tracking of activities, and then also providing and tracking on-demand viewing of content. With that app in mind, let's take a little look at how the evexus app is able to provide that consistent accuracy of data collection for in-person experiences. When it comes to collecting accurate CPD data at an in-person event, the evexus app is really powerful and really easy to use. Event organizers can have up to 3 different ways in which you can allow your attendees to earn CPD points and data by attending the different sessions. First of all, within a session or talk, we can include the check-in option here. So this then allows the attendee to confirm that they've checked into that particular session and therefore can earn points for doing so. As you can see here, there's other ways to make the content interesting and engaging in the experience of bringing the audience together. You're allowed to run polls, ask questions, and really help the audience interact with one another and the presenter. The second way is then within the engage part of the app, where you can use the QR code scanner within your phone to scan a QR code, which then confirms that you've been in that particular session. We can also do that so that attendees have to scan both upon entering a particular session and then exiting a particular session. So you then get the duration that they've been within that talk. And then the third way is session check-in by code. So rather than having people scan a QR code, you can provide them with a particular code that they then enter into the app to confirm that they attended in a particular session. So you can see there's lots of different options to really allow your audience to confirm which sessions and talks and presentations they've attended and therefore earn the relevant CPD points and credits. Obviously, one of the crucial aspects of any educational and CPD program is actually the reporting of that data. But beyond that, we want to make sure that we're providing both organizers and also the members themselves with visibility and transparency, and also then that end of journey certificate that brings it all together and allows the member to demonstrate the credits that they've earned. From an organizational point of view, there's a few key areas that evexus focuses on. First of all, we're able to provide that detailed breakdown of content viewing and engagement. We're also able to help you analyze interaction and viewing and really gain an insight into what types of content your audience prefer, what types of questions are getting asked, what types of poll results are coming up, as well as you provide different questions and experiences within that content. And then also we're able to provide that full audit trail, which is of course incredibly important. The final part there is that we can also help you create and distribute those certificates. And again, that can be a potentially very laborious process. And if we can help you there by streamlining that and letting the software do a lot of the heavy lifting, then hopefully that saves you a lot of time. From the attendee point of view, from that individual point of view, they're able to then track their progress using the evexus system. They can also see a full history to support their CPD tracking, and they're also able to access those certificates that you've created for them. And in terms of the detail there's an incredible amount of customization that you're actually able to provide. And so let's look at one of those as an example right now. This is just a simple example of one of the custom design certificates that it's possible to have uploaded into the system and then share with your attendees. As you can see, not only is it nicely designed in terms of the organizational branding, but it's got a detailed breakdown of the different sessions that the individual attendee attended, and then provides a detailed breakdown of the different points that they've then earned, or hours in this instance that they've earned. This can then easily be distributed to the attendee via the system. They can email it to themselves, they can download it themselves, and make sure that they've got that then for their records. Coming back to the app, we can see how easy it is for attendees to keep an eye on how many points and credits they are earning when it comes to CPD, so they can go into the CPD part of the app. And straight away within here, you can see there's lots of options. First of all, they can email themselves or download the certificate if it's been uploaded for their profile. They can also then get a summary of how many points they've earned compared to how many points are actually available for this particular event. They can then see that in chart form as well, get more detail on the minutes viewed versus available, and then even have an incredibly detailed breakdown and sort of audit trail of exactly the sessions that they've been tagged in. Again, this is really useful for the attendee because they can obviously sort of track their progress, but it's also incredibly useful from the organizer point of view because it does mean that there is that audit trail. So if you do get queries from attendees about what sessions they've been to and what they haven't, it's really easy to come back to this objective, independent piece of data to then help the attendee understand what they've been to and what they haven't. Obviously, not all content needs to have CPD attributes connected with it, and there's a lot of organizations and a lot of associations that play a very important role when it comes to education that don't necessarily have to also include that CPD aspect. But there's still an important opportunity here to provide engaging education. And for us, there's a number of aspects to really drive that engagement and interaction and keep the audience coming back and valuing the content you're providing. First of all, it's really important to elevate the webinars that you're creating and the whole educational experience. It's not just about the content itself, although that's obviously important, but it's about the whole experience that you're providing to your audience. It's also crucial to make sure that it's quick and easy for you. A lot of organizations run an incredible number of educational events and webinars, and so we want to make sure that you can achieve those high quality results, but nice and quickly and easily as well, and still make sure that it's really engaging for your audience. It's also important to understand that with the evexus system, you're able to capture automatic on-demand recordings from your events and webinars. That can be incredibly powerful, not just because you can then provide that on-demand experience for your audience, but also because it can be done automatically. Again, speeding up the time to sort of delivery, but also saving you as an individual an incredible amount of time to focus on other things. And then finally, with this improved educational experience and sort of event experience, it's also then becomes a lot easier to attract sponsors who can then fund the event or webinar series. And a number of our clients have taken that approach where they will elevate their whole webinar and educational content and event experience, and then pitch that to sponsors, being able to highlight that actually, if you get involved with supporting our webinar series, you can have the opportunity to present your brand to a large number of eyeballs on an ongoing basis. And you can really sort of get a lot of return on investment there as a partner brand. We're going to take a little bit of a look now at the evexus webinar wizard and show you how quick and easy it is to create really good looking webinar websites. The webinar wizard can be found within the webinar module, which can be accessed here within the evexus Launchpad. Once I've opened up the webinar module, I can then see a range of different webinars, some that have already happened, some that are published and waiting to happen, and some that are in draft format. If I want to create a brand new one, just hit the create button there, and then the system will create a brand new one for me, and then I can come through and edit that here. The wizard itself makes it nice and easy to follow some simple steps to get you an excellent looking website and delivery set up for the webinar itself. So let's think about a name here. This session seems to have gone down really well. So let's have a return. We'll call that a webinar as well. Don't want too much of a good thing, so let's have a little bit of a break here. We'll do this one next month, keep it the same time, and then sadly, you're going to be stuck with me again as the facilitator. I can then create my presentation. So CPD, yes, there's more about CPD. Let's have me as the speaker. Do like the limelight. That talk's all created in the system now. And then I can come into the website wizard. And as you can see here, what we've got set up is the ability for you to see exactly what elements you're going to be changing on your website. So as I hover over the upload your event logo option here, I can see on the preview window on the right hand side the little red highlight flashing there, and that tells me exactly what I'm changing if I go ahead and upload a new image there. So I can change the event logo, I can change the favicon, different colorings. I can have the primary color, secondary color, different fonts. Leave those as is for now. Again, more styling here that we can change, different header texts, even the scroll bar on the right hand side. Can then give myself a little tagline, so I know that's going to be the one at the top. So that's going to be the evexus product showcase. We're going to say, yes, there's more to CPD. And let's call that a webinar. If I wanted to, I can add a background image or video behind those headlines, and I can also add in a countdown time if I wish. And then the wizard continues to take us through different steps to help flesh out that website. I can add in the event date and location, a special sort of video to highlight either a little bit more about the session or maybe promote a sponsor. I can then add in new sections. They could be about the topic itself. I could add in imagery. Again, I could add in sort of more information about partners who are involved and really make that come to life. I'd make sure I've got my footer information set up properly. Include an email address for the contact form. So let's put myself there. I can answer any of your inquiries. And then to make sure that the website itself is searchable on Google, and I guess other search engines exist apparently, we can then go through and include some of the meta information as well. And just like that, we're done and we're ready to preview the event website or actually go straight ahead and launch it. And to give you an idea of what can be created quickly and easily, the one that we're using today, hopefully you saw as you joined us, I created that within about 45 minutes or so. And so if the sales guy can do that, hopefully we're doing something right. As you can see, I've got a nice little video behind the headlines. We've got my registration flow all set up. A little bit of information promoting the session and some of the data points that we discussed earlier. So again, highlighting there that it is very quick and easy to create visually appealing and compelling webinar websites that not only allow you to deliver the high quality content that you've already got, but also then create an engaging sort of home for your audience members to come along to. It really lifts the standard of the whole experience, and as we mentioned earlier, provides a great opportunity to have sponsors and partners involved as well. One of the characteristics of the evexus approach is to try and make things as easy as possible, both for yourself as organizers and then also for the member. And we believe there's a number of attributes to removing that friction for any kind of organizer and event attendee. First of all, there's that single sign-on experience. It's something that we are used to in our day-to-day personal lives and work lives, and it's kind of the table stakes for any kind of digital experience. And so when it's not there, it's potentially a little bit jarring. With evexus and with our integration module, we're able to help our clients provide that single sign-on experience. Not only is that sort of adding extra security into the whole approach, but also it really provides a smooth and seamless experience for the end user. With that in mind, we can also provide that integration into other systems, whether they be a CRM, an AMS, an email marketing system, or maybe a sort of a finance system. But we can plug the evexus system with all of your event data into your systems and equally have data flowing the other way as well. And that means you can ensure that you have that single source of truth within your CRM, but you're also able to provide a really nice personalized experience for your attendees. And that personalization is crucial. Thirdly, one of the ways to ensure that you're removing friction and making it as easy as possible for your audience is to put all of your webinars and events in one place. Again, with evexus, you're able to create this event hub where your audience can keep coming back to the same place to find last week's webinar recording, to find registration for next month's event, and to make sure that they're up to date on all of the different sort of events that you're running and what's coming up. And by making it nice and easy for them to do that, you're removing a lot of the frustration and hassle that quite often gets in the way of an audience engaging with the great content that you've got. And then the last point we want to make here is around providing an actual journey for your audience. It's not enough, sadly, just to create the good quality content that you do. You also need to make sure that you are making it nice and easy for that audience member to understand how to get from where they are now today to where they need to be in the future. That might well be in terms of advancing their career through some of this educational approach. It might be in terms of achieving a certain number of required CPD points or credits. But one of the biggest issues that individuals have is understanding how to get access to the things that they need, how to really engage with the content that the association has to offer. So going well beyond just thinking about the quality of the content itself, you need to think about how to provide a really easy journey from A to B to C that takes the hassle out of the way of the audience member and makes it really nice and easy for them to engage with the excellent content that you're producing. Thank you very much for listening. And we'd love now to get into some questions. Well, I hope that was interesting and useful for everybody. A couple of questions that have come through that we can sort of dig into. And one is asking around how to use different formats for CPD events and educational events. And I think, we all already know the typical formats that we can use, sort of webinars like this one, for example, virtual events, in-person workshops, sort of online learning that people can take at a pace that suits them. But I think the underlying point that we're seeing and that is crucial to consider is that you really need to be able to provide an experience that meets the individual, meets the audience member, meets the association member where they are and when they are. So whatever you're putting together, whatever format you're using, you have to ensure that actually people can access them when and how suits them and their lives. We're all busy people. We've all got lots of different things going on, and we all want to engage in content in different ways, whether it be on the phone, on the commute back at the end of the day, whether it's sort of first thing on a Saturday morning. Whenever it is, you need to make sure that the content is easily accessible at a time and a place that suits your audience. And part of the way in which you can help do that is by also making sure it's kind of in one place where people can keep coming back to. We see that I guess that sort of trap crop up quite a bit, where people will have webinars and webinar recordings sitting in emails that have been sent out as links. You've then got conference information sitting on a conference website. You've then got information about upcoming events sitting on the organization website. You've got to try and make it as easy as possible for people. People are busy. People sometimes are lazy. We're not going to spend time hunting around for things. So you've got to make it nice and easy. And that's where creating sort of an event hub, if you like, can be really effective, because you just put it in one place. People then come back to that one place over and over again. Thank you very much indeed for your time today. Really, really appreciate you coming along, and appreciate the sort of the questions as well. If you do have any other follow-up questions, please do get in touch with us. We'd love to talk more about CPD events, educational events, and sort of events in general, and how technology can help you in 2025 and beyond. For now, though, thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful day.